World War II was the most devastating conflict in human history. A war so vast and destructive that nearly every major geopolitical event and international relationship of the modern world can be traced back to it. Entire cities were reduced to rubble, millions of lives were lost, and global power structures were permanently altered. Understanding World War II is not about identifying one single spark that ignited the conflict, because in reality it was a chain of interconnected events that slowly pushed the world toward catastrophe. To truly understand what happened, why it happened, and how it reshaped the world, the story must begin in 1919, the year World War I ended. After the war, the victorious powers imposed the Treaty of Versailles on Germany, a peace agreement that would later be remembered as one of the most controversial treaties in history. A key component of this treaty was Article 231, commonly known as the War Guilt Clause, which placed full responsibility for the war and all resulting damages squarely on Germany's shoulders. Regardless of the many nations involved in World War I, Germany was declared solely responsible, a decision that deeply humiliated the country. France and Britain, having suffered enormous losses, demanded severe reparations, forcing Germany to pay $33 billion, an amount equivalent to roughly $270 billion today. The financial burden was crushing and would take nearly a century to fully repay, with the final installment being paid only in 2010. These reparations were drawn directly from the German economy and its citizens, and when payments began in 1921, the consequences were immediate and disastrous. Germany soon plunged into hyperinflation, with the value of its currency, the German mark, collapsing at an unimaginable pace. In 1922, a loaf of bread in Berlin cost 160 marks, but by 1923, that same loaf cost 200 billion marks. Savings became worthless overnight, wages could not keep up with prices, unemployment soared, and economic stability disintegrated entirely. As the German population struggled with poverty, hunger, and despair, public anger intensified. And in this atmosphere of crisis, a new political figure emerged: Adolf Hitler. A charismatic speaker with a keen understanding of mass psychology, Hitler exploited public frustration by offering simple explanations for complex problems. In 1923, his party attempted to overthrow the German government in a failed coup. But rather than destroying his political career, the attempt amplified his visibility and appeal. Narratives began circulating that Germany's humiliation and suffering were caused by internal enemies, rather than military defeat. Jews, socialists, and other groups were blamed for the nation's problems, and as desperation grew, many people were willing to believe these claims. Over the next decade, propaganda became pervasive, with media manipulation, hate-filled rhetoric, and fear-driven messaging saturating public life. Economic recovery remained fragile, and when the Great Depression struck in 1929, it pushed Germany into an even deeper crisis. By 1933, 6 million Germans were unemployed, homelessness was widespread, and children were dying from starvation. Amid this chaos, Hitler seized power and declared himself the dictator of Germany. With total control, he set out to transform the nation according to his vision of a racially pure empire, one that excluded Jews and Slavic peoples and glorified the so-called Aryan race. To justify persecution and expansion, the regime promoted conspiracy theories, including the claim that Jewish influence was responsible for the Russian Revolution and the rise of the Soviet Union. In direct violation of the Treaty of Versailles, Germany began rearming, and by 1935 it openly revealed the existence of a new air force. Surprisingly, this breach of the treaty was met with limited resistance, as many in Britain believed the original terms of the treaty were excessively harsh and unfair. That same year, Britain formally recognized Germany's naval expansion through an agreement, effectively legitimizing rearmament. France, alarmed by Germany's growing military power, responded by constructing the Maginot Line, a massive defensive fortification along its eastern border. By 1938, Hitler believed Germany was strong enough to expand territorially and turned his attention to Austria. Driven by the desire to unite all German-speaking peoples and secure additional resources and living space, he pressured Austria's leadership into allowing pro-Nazi figures into government positions. When Austrian leaders attempted to resist by proposing a public vote on independence, German troops marched in and Austria was annexed without resistance. Propaganda portrayed the invasion as a protective intervention, and Austria ceased to exist as an independent nation. Encouraged by this success, Hitler next targeted Czechoslovakia, focusing on the Sudetenland, a region with a large German-speaking population. Seeking to avoid war, Britain and France agreed to transfer the territory to Germany in exchange for promises of peace. But within months, German forces occupied the rest of the country, violating the agreement and exposing the failure of appeasement. The next target was Poland, and to secure its invasion, Germany signed a non-aggression pact with the Soviet Union, secretly agreeing to divide Polish territory between them. On September 1, 1939, German forces launched a massive assault on Poland, using a revolutionary military strategy known as Blitzkrieg or lightning war. This approach emphasized speed, surprise, and overwhelming force, combining rapid tank advances with aerial bombardment to overwhelm enemies before they could respond. Polish defenses collapsed within days, and by September 8, German troops had occupied the country, while Soviet forces invaded from the east. Poland was divided, marking the beginning of a broader global conflict. Britain and France declared war on Germany, but for months, little direct fighting occurred in Western Europe, a period later referred to as the Phony War. Meanwhile, Germany's Blitzkrieg tactics proved devastatingly effective, aided by the widespread use of stimulants that allowed soldiers to fight continuously with minimal rest. As Germany consolidated its gains, the Soviet Union engaged Finland in a separate conflict, seeking to secure territory near Leningrad. Though vastly outnumbered, Finland resisted fiercely, forcing a settlement that granted the Soviets only limited concessions. Germany then shifted focus northward, invading Denmark and Norway in April 1940, swiftly defeating both and establishing control. Political consequences followed in Britain, where leadership changed amid growing alarm. On May 10, 1940, Germany launched a massive offensive against France and the Low Countries. While French defenses focused on expected invasion routes, German forces advanced through the Ardennes Forest, a region believed to be impassable, outflanking Allied troops and trapping them near the coast. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers were surrounded at Dunkirk, and a massive evacuation was organized under constant attack. Against overwhelming odds, the majority were rescued, preserving Britain's ability to continue the war. Despite this success, France soon surrendered, and by mid-1940, Germany controlled most of continental Europe. Italy joined the conflict alongside Germany, further expanding the Axis alliance. At this stage, Britain stood largely alone, while the Soviet Union remained bound by its agreement with Germany and the United States remained neutral. Germany appeared unstoppable, having achieved unprecedented dominance in less than 2 years. Yet despite this overwhelming advantage, the war was far from over. Britain refused to surrender, setting the stage for a dramatic shift in the conflict and a struggle that would ultimately reshape the world forever.